My name's Jessica, and I'm 28. Up until last year, I thought I had a pretty normal family. There was me, working as a marketing manager at a tech startup downtown. Then there were my parents, Dad, a salesman at a car dealership, and Mom, who worked part-time at the local library. My younger sister Abby, 24, was still figuring out her life, bouncing between retail jobs while claiming she was exploring her options. And then there was Grandma Rose, Dad's mom. She was 82 and had been living with my parents since Grandpa died 15 years ago. I visited her at least once a week, usually on Sundays. She'd always have fresh cookies waiting and would tell me stories about when she was young. It was during one of these Sunday visits that everything started. I remember it clearly because it was the day my family showed their true colors. I'd brought Grandma her favorite tea from that fancy shop downtown, and we were sitting in the living room while Mom, Dad, and Abby watched TV in the den. "Jessica, honey," Grandma said, setting down her teacup, "I've been thinking about something." "What's that, Grandma?" "I want to go on vacation." She looked out the window, her eyes distant. "It's been over 15 years since your grandfather passed, and I haven't been anywhere since then." "That sounds nice, Grandma. Where would you want to go?" "Hawaii," she said without hesitation. "I've always wanted to see the beaches there. Feel the warm sand between my toes." She sighed. "I'm getting old, Jessica. This might be the last trip I ever take." That's when Mom, Dad, and Abby suddenly appeared in the doorway. I hadn't even heard them turn off the TV. "Mom's absolutely right," my mother jumped in, looking directly at me. "She deserves a vacation, Jessica." Dad nodded enthusiastically. "You know, since you're doing so well at your job. And you don't have kids or anything," Abby added. I could see where this was going. They were all staring at me expectantly. "You should pay for Grandma's trip," Mom said bluntly. "You make good money, and family takes care of family." "Of course," Mom continued, "we'd need to go with her. Someone has to look after her." I looked at Grandma, who was fidgeting with her hands. Then I looked at my family, their eyes gleaming with anticipation. I did make decent money, and I'd been saving up. Grandma deserved this. "Okay," I said, "I'll pay for the trip." The room erupted in excitement. Abby actually squealed. "When would you want to go?" I asked. "Next month would be perfect," Dad said quickly. "The weather's supposed to be ideal." "I can't go next month," I said. "We have a huge product launch at work. But I'll book everything for you guys." "Oh, that's too bad," Mom said, though she didn't sound disappointed at all. "But don't worry, we'll take lots of pictures for you." Over the next week, I spent hours researching flights and hotels. I found a beautiful resort right on the beach, with a pool and restaurants. The whole package, flights for 4 people, 2 weeks at the hotel, plus some spending money, came to almost $12,000. It was a big chunk of my savings, but seeing Grandma's excited face made it worth it. I threw myself into work, dealing with the product launch chaos. Days blurred together with meetings and deadlines. A week into their trip, I realized I hadn't heard much from them besides a few generic beach photos Mom had posted on Facebook. That's when I remembered Grandma's plants. She had a whole collection of orchids and African violets that needed regular watering. Since they'd left in such a rush, I figured I should check on the house. It was a Thursday evening when I pulled up to my parents' house. The porch light was off, which was odd. I used my spare key to let myself in. I turned on the light. That's when I saw her. Grandma was sitting on the couch in the living room, wrapped in a plaid blanket. She looked pale and tired, nothing like the excited woman I'd dropped off at the airport a week ago. "Grandma," I rushed to her side. "What are you doing here? Where are Mom and Dad and Abby?" She looked up at me with watery eyes. "Oh, Jessica, I didn't want to bother you." "Bother me? Grandma, what's going on? Why aren't you in Hawaii?" She coughed, a deep, rattling sound. "I got sick 2 days before the trip. Started coughing, felt weak. Your parents said." She paused, looking down at her hands. "They said if I was sick, I'd have to stay home." They didn't want to risk me getting worse on the plane. My heart started pounding. They left you here alone? They said the tickets were non-refundable, that it would be a waste not to go. I stood up, my mind racing. Have you been here by yourself this whole week? She nodded. Let me check something. I walked to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. It was practically empty, just some condiments, a half-empty carton of milk, and a moldy piece of cheese. Grandma, I said, trying to keep my voice calm, why didn't you call me? Your parents said you'd be very busy with work, they told me not to bother you. I felt rage building up inside me. I pulled out my phone and dialed Mom's number. She answered on the third ring, and I could hear music and laughter in the background. Jessica, how nice of you to call. We're having dinner at this amazing restaurant. Why is Grandma at home? I cut her off. There was a pause. Oh, well, she got sick. We couldn't risk taking her on the plane. So you just left her, alone, with no food? Don't be dramatic, Jessica. She's fine, these things happen. These things happen? Mom, I paid for this trip specifically so Grandma could have a vacation. Well, we couldn't just waste the tickets, she said, as if it was the most logical thing in the world. The whole family would have lost out. You could have rescheduled. That's when I heard Abby's voice in the background. Tell her I had to take vacation days for this specific week, I couldn't change them. Mom handed the phone to Abby. Jess, you need to understand. This trip doesn't even matter to Grandma. She's too old to appreciate it anyway. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I organized this entire trip for her, it was her dream. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? Mom took the phone back. Grandma's fine, she'll recover, and then she can go to the grocery store herself. The refrigerator is empty. We left plenty of food, Abby shouted in the background. She probably just ate it all too fast. You need to stop interfering with our vacation, Mom said firmly. We'll discuss this when we get back. And she hung up. I stood there in the kitchen, phone in hand, shaking with anger. Then I heard Grandma cough again from the living room. I tried calling them back, but they weren't picking up. My phone buzzed with a text from Abby. Stop being dramatic, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Grandma's old, she doesn't need much food anyway. She probably won't even remember this vacation, she'll die soon anyway. That was it, I was done with their crap. I sat down next to Grandma and held her hand. I'm so sorry they did this to you. It's okay, dear, she said weakly, I'm used to it. No, it's not okay, and you shouldn't be used to it. I opened the airline app on my phone and logged into the booking I'd made. With a few taps, I canceled their return flights. Let them figure out their own way home. Grandma, I'm taking you to the doctor tomorrow. But first, let's get you some food. I drove to the nearest supermarket and filled a cart with groceries, fresh vegetables, fruits, bread, milk, eggs, and all of Grandma's favorite snacks. Then I stopped at Luigi's, the Italian restaurant she loved, and ordered her favorite chicken parmesan to go. Back at the house, I heated up the food while Grandma slowly made her way to the kitchen table. This is too much fuss, she protested weakly. Eat, I commanded, setting the plate in front of her, you need your strength. While she ate, I called the local clinic and made an appointment for the next morning. Then I started cleaning up the kitchen, which was a mess. Dishes were piled in the sink, and the counters were sticky. Jessica, Grandma said between bites, you don't have to do all this. Yes, I do, and I'm staying here tonight. The next morning, I took Grandma to see Dr. Martinez. She diagnosed bronchitis and prescribed antibiotics and rest. We stopped at the pharmacy, and I made sure Grandma understood exactly how to take her medications. Over the next few days, I fell into a routine. I'd work from my laptop at Grandma's house during the day, making sure she took her medicine and ate regular meals. In the evenings, we'd watch old movies together or I'd read to her from her favorite books. It was during one of these quiet evenings that Grandma opened up to me. You know, Jessica, I've been thinking about moving to a nursing home. I looked up from my book, surprised. Really? She nodded. I've been thinking about it for a while. There's a nice place across town, Sunshine Senior Living. Some of my friends from church live there. Have you talked to Dad about this? She sighed several times. But he always talks me out of it. Says I'm better off with family than with strangers. Well, we can see how well that's working out, I said bitterly. He promised he'd take care of me, she continued. In exchange for leaving him the house when I pass. I felt my stomach turn. He said that? Not in so many words, but yes, that was the understanding. 2 days before my family was supposed to return, my phone started blowing up. 27 missed calls, 42 text messages, and counting. What did you do? Was the first text from Mom. Fix this right now, from Dad. You're dead when I get home, from Abby. I called Mom back. She answered immediately, screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. How dare you cancel our flights? Do you have any idea how much it cost us to book new tickets? Probably about as much as it cost me to book the original trip, I said calmly. We had to use our credit cards, we're already in debt. Maybe you should have thought about that before abandoning your sick mother. She's fine, you're being ridiculous. Goodbye, Mom, I hung up. More angry texts flooded in. I turned off my phone and focused on Grandma. They're pretty mad, huh? She asked. They'll get over it. Jessica, I want to sell the house. I stared at her. Are you sure? Yes, I want to sell it and use the money to pay for the nursing home. It's time. I thought about it for a moment. I know a good lawyer, let me call him. The next day, my lawyer friend Mike came over. He helped Grandma understand her options and recommended a reputable nursing home, not Sunshine Senior Living, but Harmony Hills, which had better reviews and medical care. I can also help you find a realtor when you're ready to sell, Mike offered. The sooner, the better, Grandma said firmly. We visited Harmony Hills that afternoon. It was beautiful, private rooms, gardens, a library, and a full medical staff. Grandma's eyes lit up as we toured the facility. This is perfect, she whispered to me. Then let's do it, I said. 2 days later, my family arrived home. I was in the living room with Grandma and Mike when they burst through the door. You, Dad pointed at me, his face red with rage, get out of my house. Actually, Grandma said calmly, it's my house, my name is on the deed. Mom, you know what I meant. I know exactly what you meant, Robert. And while you were enjoying your vacation, I made some decisions. Mom noticed Mike. Who's this? My lawyer, I said. Your what? Grandma stood up, supporting herself on her walker. I'm selling the house, I'm moving to Harmony Hills, and I'm using the money from the sale to pay for my care. The explosion that followed was epic. Mom started crying, Dad was yelling about betrayal, and Abby was screaming that I'd brainwashed Grandma. You can't do this, Dad shouted. This house is supposed to be mine. Nothing is supposed to be yours, Grandma said quietly. You've shown me exactly how much you care. Mike stepped forward. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, Ms. Thompson, he addressed my family formally, you have 2 weeks to vacate the premises. After that, we'll involve law enforcement. You're kicking us out? Mom shrieked. Where are we supposed to go? Perhaps you should have thought about that before you left my client alone and sick, Mike replied smoothly. The next 2 weeks were absolute hell. I moved in with Grandma to protect her from my family's rage. They made sure we knew exactly how angry they were, slamming doors at all hours, blasting the TV at maximum volume, and stomping around like elephants. Abby was the worst. She'd pace the hallway outside Grandma's room, talking loudly on her phone. Can you believe we're being kicked out? Like stray dogs. We'll be homeless because of my psycho sister. Mom took a different approach, dramatic sobbing sessions at 2 a.m., wailing about how her own daughter had betrayed her. Dad tried intimidation. He'd corner me in the kitchen, getting in my face. You're going to regret this, Jessica, family doesn't do this to family. Family doesn't abandon sick grandmothers either, I shot back. One evening, I was making dinner when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Aunt Carol, Uncle Jim, and 3 cousins I hadn't seen in years. Jessica, Aunt Carol started, we need to talk about what you're doing to your parents. I'm not doing anything to them. Grandma made her own decision. Your mother says you've manipulated Rose, that you're after her money. I slammed the door in their faces. Through the window, I could see them huddling with my parents in the driveway. Mom had clearly called in reinforcements. That night, Mom posted on Facebook, heartbroken. My own daughter has turned my mother-in-law against us. Greed makes people do terrible things, please pray for our family. The comments started rolling in. Relatives I barely knew were calling me selfish, manipulative, a gold digger. I sat there, phone in hand, fury building. Two can play this game, I muttered. I created my own post. Since there seems to be some confusion about recent events, let me clarify. My grandmother wants to sell her house to pay for her care in a nursing home. I'm not taking anything from her. What I did do was pay $12,000 for a Hawaii vacation that my family took without my sick grandmother, leaving her alone with an empty fridge. I attached screenshots of Abby's text saying Grandma would die soon anyway and photos of the empty refrigerator. Within an hour, the tide turned. Comments poured in supporting me. Aunt Carol messaged privately, I'm so sorry, we didn't know the whole story. Meanwhile, Mike had found a realtor, and we got the house on the market. 3 offers came in within the first week. Grandma accepted one for $400,000, well above asking price. This is really happening, she said, signing the papers. Are you having second thoughts? Not one, she said firmly, I should have done this years ago. The day before my family had to leave, they made one last attempt. Dad approached Grandma while she was reading in the living room. Mom, please reconsider. We're family, we've taken care of you all these years. Have you? Grandma interrupted. When was the last time you took me anywhere, Robert? When did you last ask how I was feeling? You parked me in this house like furniture and expected me to be grateful. That's not fair. What's not fair is leaving me sick and alone while you vacationed on my granddaughter's dime. Moving day arrived, my family packed their belongings into a rental truck, shooting us dirty looks the entire time. As they were leaving, Abby couldn't resist one final jab. I hope you're happy, Jessica, you've destroyed this family. No, Abby, you destroyed it when you decided Grandma was disposable. After they left, I changed all the locks. The house felt peaceful for the first time in weeks. 2 weeks later, the sale closed. Grandma had her check, and we went to Harmony Hills to sign her residency agreement. Moving day at Harmony Hills was bittersweet. Grandma got a beautiful 2-room suite with her own bathroom. We decorated it with her favorite pictures and plants. Oh, Jessica, she said, looking around, this is wonderful. Over the next few months, I visited every weekend. Grandma blossomed at Harmony Hills. She joined the gardening club, made friends, and even started taking water aerobics. I haven't felt this alive in years, she told me one Sunday. You know what's funny? Your parents never let me have friends over. Said it was too much trouble. And we never went anywhere because they said I was too fragile. They were controlling you. Yes, they were, but not anymore. Through the family grapevine, I heard about my parents' situation. They'd rented a cramped apartment across town. The Hawaii trip had maxed out their credit cards, and now they were drowning in debt. Both had taken second jobs to make ends meet. Serves them right, said my Aunt Helen, Mom's sister, over coffee one day. Did you know they took out loans 2 years ago? They were counting on Rose's house to bail them out. They told people Grandma was going to die soon? Not in those words, but yes, they'd been planning this for years. The truth made me sick, they'd seen Grandma as nothing more than a piggy bank. 6 months passed, and I settled into a new routine. Every Saturday, I'd pick up Grandma's favorite pastries and spend the afternoon with her at Harmony Hills. She was thriving, her cough was gone, she'd gained weight, and she had a whole circle of friends. Jessica, meet Margaret and Doris, she introduced me one day. We're starting a book club. I hadn't seen her this happy in years. She told me stories about their activities, movie nights, art classes, even a weekly poker game. You know what the best part is, she said during one visit. I can invite people to my room whenever I want. No one tells me it's too much trouble or that I'm making a mess. We were sitting in the garden when she dropped a bombshell. Your parents called me yesterday. I tensed. What did they want? Money, of course. They said they're struggling and asked if I could help with their rent. What did you tell them? I told them no, they made their choice when they left me alone and sick. She paused, then continued, they haven't visited me once since I moved here. Not once, Jessica. But they call when they need money. I'm sorry, Grandma. Don't be, you've shown me what real family looks like. A few weeks later, Aunt Helen invited me for lunch. She had more family gossip. Your parents are in serious trouble, she said. They're working 3 jobs each just to keep up with minimum payments on their credit cards. And Abby got fired from her retail job for stealing. Stealing? Apparently, she was taking merchandise and returning it for cash at other stores. Got caught on camera. I shook my head, they brought this on themselves. I know, but here's the thing, they're telling everyone you stole Rose's money. They're saying you convinced her to change her will and that you're controlling her finances. That's ridiculous, Grandma made all these decisions herself. I know that, most of the family knows that now, especially after your Facebook post. But your parents are desperate to paint themselves as victims. The next month, on Grandma's 83rd birthday, I organized a small party at Harmony Hills. Her friends came, some of the staff, and even a few relatives who'd sided with us. We had cake, music, and laughter. Halfway through the party, my phone buzzed. It was Abby. Having fun spending Grandma's money? The text read. I showed it to Grandma, who just laughed. Let me reply, she said, taking my phone. She typed, this is Rose, I'm having a wonderful birthday with people who actually care about me. How's your 3rd job going? The response was immediate and vitriolic. I blocked Abby's number. Later that evening, as I was helping Grandma back to her room, she stopped me. Jessica, I need to tell you something, I met with my lawyer last week. Is everything okay? Everything's perfect, I just wanted to make sure my wishes were crystal clear. The nursing home is paid up for the next 10 years. Whatever's left after I'm gone, and there should be quite a bit, goes to you. Grandma. No arguments, you saved my life, Jessica. Not just by taking care of me when I was sick, but by helping me escape from them. I was a prisoner in that house, and I didn't even realize it. I hugged her tight, fighting back tears. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Jessica, it was Mom, please don't hang up. What do you want? We're being evicted, we can't make rent this month. Could you maybe talk to Grandma? Ask her to help us out? Are you serious right now? We're family, Jessica, family helps family. Like you helped Grandma when she was sick. That was different. No, it wasn't, you only see family as people you can use. Grandma's not your ATM, and neither am I. I hung up and blocked that number too. A year after everything went down, I was at Harmony Hills for my weekly visit when Grandma surprised me with news. I'm going to Hawaii, the nursing home organizes group trips. 10 of us are going to Hawaii for a week. Full medical staff accompanying us. I laughed out loud, that's amazing, Grandma. Ironic, isn't it? I'm finally getting my Hawaii vacation, and it's not costing you a penny. The home has a travel fund from donations. 2 weeks later, I drove her to the airport. This time, she actually made it onto the plane. She sent me pictures every day, Grandma on the beach, Grandma at a luau, Grandma with her new friends wearing matching Hawaiian shirts. When she got back, she was glowing. It was everything I dreamed of and more. Meanwhile, my parents' situation continued to deteriorate. Dad's car got repossessed. They moved to an even smaller apartment. Abby got arrested for shoplifting and spent a night in jail. But here's the thing, they never once reached out to apologize. Never acknowledged what they'd done. In their minds, they were still the victims, and I was still the villain who'd stolen their inheritance. The last I heard, they were considering bankruptcy. Aunt Helen told me they'd borrowed money from everyone in the family and burned every bridge they had. As for me and Grandma? We're doing great. She's 84 now and healthier than she's been in years. Last week, she beat everyone at poker night and won $50. You know what I realized, she told me recently. They didn't abandon me that one time. They'd been abandoning me for years, I just finally saw it clearly. I'm sorry it took so long. Don't be, sometimes it takes something dramatic to open your eyes. And besides, she winked, I got my Hawaii vacation in the end. Looking back, that $12,000 vacation was the best money I ever spent. Not because anyone got to enjoy Hawaii, but because it revealed the truth about my family. It saved Grandma from spending her final years as a prisoner in her own home. And me? I learned that real family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about showing up, caring, and putting someone else's needs before your own wants. Grandma taught me that, and I'll never forget it.